Is Lemuria the seventh continent or a myth? Where does the legend end and reality begin? Where is the mysterious world that once disappeared into the depths of the ocean? Are you ready to find out the truth hidden under a layer of centuries, mystical fog, and ancient legends? How did the name Lemuria come about? Could it have been derived from lemurs? Indeed, the name Lemuria arose as a result of the debate among 19th-century scientists regarding the origin of animal species according to Darwin. In 1864, British zoologist and biogeographer Philip Sclater published an article, The Mammals of Madagascar, in which he discussed the distribution of lemurs. True lemurs inhabit only Madagascar, but related species are found not only in Africa but also in India and Southeast Asia, lands separated by the waters of the Indian Ocean. Explaining the widespread distribution of these animals proved to be a challenging task, as it is well known that they cannot overcome water barriers. Sclater hypothesized that Madagascar and India were remnants of a larger continent. He then proposed the name Lemuria for this hypothetical supercontinent, which connected Madagascar and India, was located in the Indian Ocean, and subsequently submerged. This explanation provided a way for zoologists to account for the lemur's distribution without resorting to the use of land bridges. The Russian mystic Helena Petrovna Blavatsky postulated the existence of Lemuria in the Indian Ocean about 150 million years ago. In her works, she described the Lemurians as the third root race that inhabited our planet. They were egg-laying bisexual beings with extrasensory abilities in their eyes. According to the works of the English theosophist Scott Elliott, the Lemurians knew that the earth was destined to go through a great flood. Therefore, to preserve all knowledge, they encrypted information in crystals, which are stored somewhere deep underground. They began to create detailed maps of underground tunnels that existed between exit points on our planet. After the flood, while living underground, they learned to live there and use the subterranean environment for their existence. They built entire communities underground. After the floodwaters receded, people emerged from underground. The earth they once knew was now completely different. According to the theosophists, the elders of Lemuria relocated their headquarters to an uninhabited plateau in Central Asia, which we now call Tibet, a religious center of Buddhism. American futurist Michael Gordon Scallion claimed that the Lemurians were around 9 feet tall, had scaly skin with a hue of the color of the sea wave, which changed from blue to green due to 2 seasonal cycles each year. They breathed through their skin, not their lungs. Their faces were elongated and oval, and their eyes were large with vertical pupils. One of the most ancient legends of India tells that hundreds of thousands of years ago in the Pacific Ocean, there existed a massive continent that was destroyed by a geological catastrophe, and its remnants could be considered Madagascar, Ceylon, Sumatra, Java, Borneo, and the main islands of Polynesia. In other words, Madagascar could have been part of the continent of Lemuria. The hypothesis of Lemuria was significantly undermined by the work of the Austrian geologist Eduard Suess, who first introduced the term Gondwana into scientific discourse to denote an ancient supercontinent that occupied almost the entire southern hemisphere of the Earth. In his monograph, Suess compared Gondwana to Lemuria, as both of these hypotheses were capable of explaining the similarity of geological formations, as well as the similarity of flora and fauna on different continents. While Lemuria was initially proposed to explain the distribution of lemurs and could provide a link between Africa and India, Gondwana represented a more substantial continental mass which also provided scientists an explanation for connections between Australia and South America. The hypotheses about Lemuria and other sunken lands became unscientific in the 1960s when the scientific community finally accepted the theory of continental drift, which, among other things, explains the similarity of living organisms in different parts of the world. According to this theory, all the land in the ancient past of Earth was united into a single supercontinent called Pangaea. Let's move on to the mystical side of the question of the existence of Lemuria. Members of the Theosophical Society claimed that there is an occult museum in Tibet where samples of the cultures of all civilizations that have ever existed on Earth are preserved. According to an American medium, the Lemurians were spiritually elevated at the time of their disappearance. Therefore, nothing held them on Earth. Here, they were working on their karma. According to a psychic, Lemuria began to sink underwater about 11,000 years ago. People from the world of esoterics describe the Lemurians as huge bodiless energetic clusters forming a unified conscious field. They appeared as beautiful, stately giants with bluish skin, later referred to as white gods. Their lifespan was around 1,000 years. They breathed through their skin, not their lungs, their faces were elongated and oval, and their eyes were large with vertical pupils. Their thoughts materialized instantly. Descriptions of the Lemurians may vary, but all mystics agree that Lemuria is light, and we can all feel the subtle, pleasant vibrations of the Lemurians. They are still beyond time and space, nourished by the ether. They exist beyond the understanding of human boundaries. It is believed that a particle of their nature has been preserved in Australia, but access to it is restricted. There are also tribes in Africa where people reach heights of 2.5 to 3 meters. They guard the entrances to places where artifacts of the Lemurians are preserved. They had long names. The first name was given at birth, the second during the first initiation ceremony, the third during marriage, the fourth upon completion of education, the fifth after achieving the first successes in work, and the sixth name was given upon achieving success in their field. The maximum number of names was 17. There is an opinion that mystical people inhabit Mount Shasta in California, living inside the mountain, albeit in the fifth dimension, and are said to be descendants of the ancient society of the lost continent of Lemuria, living deep inside the mountain in round houses, enjoying boundless health, wealth, and true brotherhood. They have preserved their ancient culture. Lemurians living in the mountain are usually described as graceful beings, 7 feet tall and taller, with long flowing hair. They are dressed in white flowing robes and sandals. It is said that they have long, slender necks and bodies, which they adorn with collars featuring beautiful patterns made from beads and gemstones. They have developed a sixth sense, allowing them to communicate telepathically. They also teleport and can become invisible at will. Their native language is Lemurian, but they also speak impeccable English with a slight British accent. They chose to learn English as a second language because they are located in America. Dr. Doriel claimed many years ago that he allegedly visited the Lemurians inside their mountain. He said that the place shown to him was about 2 miles high, 20 miles long, and 15 miles wide. He wrote that the light inside the mountain was very bright, like on a summer day, because right in the center of this enormous cavern, there was a huge glowing mass of light. And we remember that Lemuria is light. Dr. Doriel also reported that they have technologies that make the inhabitants of the third dimension seem like beginning walking infants compared to them. They control most of their technology with consciousness. In ancient times, they knew how to propel boats using energy emanating from crystals, regardless of whether the Lemurians truly existed or if they are merely a myth. Their legend continues to live on and captivate the minds of people. It is possible that they were so advanced that they simply transitioned to another dimension or concealed themselves from our view in secret places, however. Until we find concrete evidence of the existence of the Lemurians, their story will remain a mystery, stirring our minds and imagination. That's it.